Ghislaine Maxwell states that she has never seen President Trump behave inappropriate in any setting. Interesting.
I don't recall ever seeing him in his house, for instance. I actually never saw the president in any type of massage setting. I never witnessed the president in any inappropriate setting in any way. The president was never inappropriate with anybody. In the times that I was with him, he was a gentleman in all respects. I don't recall.
Okay, but obviously she's not going to put herself in a position to jeopardize herself. You could tell a monkey that and they'd understand that, right? Like, so I mean, yeah, we can take her word for like surface level information, but let's not count on it. But it does say that there's information here. So there are audio recordings of what presumes to be Ghislaine Maxwell. And it says that she believes that he did not kill himself in GTA 5. Here we go. So here's the first article, the Epstein Files. And the highlighted areas is, so did you ever know Mr. Epstein to communicate with FBI agents, either like intelligent FBI agents, like as a source, or just generally with FBI agents? Ghislaine Maxwell, no. Here, Todd Balance says, and what about any other intelligence agency, like the CIA or Defense Intelligence or any other law enforcement agency? Ghislaine Maxwell, okay, I don't think so. I think that, I don't remember anything like that. I just don't think that he had the withdrawal. And I think that the whole aspect of that is, I can use a bad, or can I use a bad word? Yes. And then I guess it's good cop, bad cop. David Marcus, Todd Balak. They both say yes. And Ghislaine says, bullshit. Okay, I guess it's bullshit. So that's just like the highlighted areas. I guess those are the most important parts. But if we're looking at the rest, right? So here's where the sauce is. So we have the U.S. Department of Justice with a excerpt of transcripts and audio recordings. So we're going to look at each one of these and see what we got here. So these are redacted. Obviously, these are going to be redacted because, like, why would they keep these open? Just a bunch of like extra bullshit. Let's see. We have 200 pages. Heavily redacted, though. You know, we're not going to see any crazy names in here, more than likely. The truth of the matter is, it's probably that there's going to be some low-key names and there's going to be some like, where's my button at, man? Yeah, it's just extra stuff. A bunch of information though. And this seems to be, it says United States. This interview of Ghislaine Maxwell, July 24th. So this is about a month ago, basically, almost exactly. Appearance was for the United States. Odd Blanche. We're gonna go Blanche on it. Deputy Attorney General Diego Pestana. I'm not good with names, give me a break. Acting Associate Deputy Attorney General. And then we have Spencer Horn, FBI Special Agent. Mark Beard, Deputy U.S. Marshal. For Ghislaine Maxwell, David Marcus, Leah Safian, and Melissa Madrigal. This is a long interview. Looks like, now, let me see. They don't have any significant, looks like, yeah, they don't, wait, okay. So, redaction, like, look at this. Now, can we infer some of this? I'm saying DOJ rejected herself, said that, recruited her. This is Ghislaine Maxwell. Those are the names we need. Those are the names we want. Right here, Geo. Wait, so who are these people? Alberto? I don't know if those are people or what. Oh, girlfriend. Oh, these are just names and timestamps. Or these are significant words. Somebody bought me a drink. Oh, I did meet Leon. I don't know Leon. When do you remember? And again, I know we're talking about a very long time ago, but do you remember approximately when you met him? I could have met Leon, not really, so I might have met him. Who's Leon? How many clients did that Mr. Epstein have? Ghislaine Maxwell. But why don't I just give you the names that I remember? Hold on. Wait a minute. Wait a crusting minute, brother. Hold on, guys. Okay. I think something maybe something may be happening here. And I don't know if it's you guys, but something's up. When we look at the rest of these files, it seems to be that she doesn't want to give up the names, but she knows some of them. When asked by Todd Blanche, so we just talked about 2 individuals. And again, I know we're talking about maybe a 15-year-old time period or even longer. How many clients did that Mr. Epstein have? Ghislaine Maxwell says, but why don't I just give you the names that I remember? Todd says, say it again. Elaine states, why won't I just give you the names? Todd states, yeah. Ghislaine, do you want the names? Todd, sure, go ahead. Elaine, Elizabeth Johnson, Johnson & Johnson, the company? Todd Blank states, as far as you know, when did the relationship between Mr. Johnson and Epstein start? The 90s. Maxwell states, 95, 96, 90s. So during the time period, Elaine Maxwell states, yes, we're talking 90s. We're talking when I was there, when I was around. Todd embellishes. And how did the relationship start? Ghislaine states, I don't know how he became friendly, where he ended up managing her. Managing her money, I wasn't there. I mean, I really had a separate life. We really had separate lives. Interesting. So so are those all the names that she remembers? I mean, that can't be all the names she remembers. That's only a few. But Johnson and Johnson, Elizabeth Johnson & Johnson. I'm sure that's possibly a victim. And if we're talking about Johnson & Johnson, we may be talking about the company creators. The law firm would be insane. Right here it states, he said he had no detail was too small because everything that affected how they lived and how they managed their life was something that he felt he was, if they wanted, he would be responsible for to make sure that no contract, so that if you had to fire someone, it wouldn't come back and sue you, or if that sort of odd states. Okay, so Mr. Black, Mr. Werner, Mr. Johnson, who else? What's the name of the woman from Iowa? An audible from Ghislaine Maxwell. Know someone named Jess Stacey? Maxwell states, yeah, I do know Jess. Todd says, who's that? Ghislaine says, he was at Morgan Stanley and at Barclays. Todd says, what do you know whether he and Mr. Epstein had a relationship? Well, not a physical one. A business one, David Marcus says. Ghislaine says, sorry, Todd interrupts and says, no, I'm saying a relationship in the broadcast sense of a word, business, personal. Watch for almost 2 years, which meant that they woke up every 15 for the entire time, and it really did affect my ability to stand. Okay, yeah, so you've been taking some notes in anticipation. I just made some names in advance for this. Yeah, okay, so go ahead. So, and you're happy to look at them look at them as well if you want. No, go ahead. Ghislaine says, okay. Oh, well, funny you say first 2 names. One is Wexner, 2 is Stacey, 3 is Leon Black. Okay. Glenn Dubin was a client. Leon Black, 74 years old, American investor, $12.8 billion net worth. Here he is, a disgusting man, if he allegedly was involved in said thing. He's having a hard time shaking the stigma. Stand. Who's next on our list? Interesting. So it says, Glenn Dubin, hedge fund manager, $2.9 billion in net worth. Disgusting. How old is this man? 68 years old. He's almost one number away from the sacred geometry. 6'9". Look at him. Gross. Peasant. scum of the earth, Glenn Dubin. What the fuck? And is he still walking the earth unfazed today, or what? Is a philanthropist? Okay. I guess it's fair. I guess he should be able to do that. So he's an American hedge fund manager. Disgusting. Wexner. Who's Wexner? Where do we go from Wexner? Les Wexner. This, another billionaire. 9.1 billionaire. 87 years old. Flagrant clip. Let's see what this guy's talking about. Disgusting scum of the earth. This guy's like a bat. It's like a fucking wombat. A fucking gremlin Chucky doll. Does this guy have cahoots with children? Oh man. This man needs to be put down like a dirty dog. What am I listening to? That is insane. Do we have any other names? Stacey. Jess Stacey, correct? I believe that's the correct one, right? Dex Stacey. Wait. Oh, Staley. So this is American banker and former CEO of the Barclays. Old is he? 68. They're all around that age range. He has 2 daughters? Oh, dude. Peter Stacey, his brother, 112 million. Brokey, get your money up, brother. 2015 rumination. His total expense past the Barclays valued at 10 million. Wait, they said Stacey. I'm pretty sure. No? He was saying like Stacey. I guess it's Staley. What was she saying? I'm not paying for your article, buddy. Ex-Barclays CEO doomed bid to rescue his reputation has laid bare the damning details of his close relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. A UK court on Thursday affirmed his lifetime ban from the financial industry. Big Take by Harry Wilson, Max Abelson, Jonathan Browning, and Ava Benny-Brisson. At the dining table in Jeffrey Epstein's Island palatial Manhattan townhouse, Andy Warner was becoming increasingly wary. It would be a few years before reports of Epstein's crimes emerged. But something about him felt odd to Warner. As the parade of young women talking around the property, one of them even tried to rub Warner's shoulders, which creeped him out more. However, Epstein was clearly rich and claimed to be influential. As CEO of JP Morgan, now JP Morgan Chase & Co., it was Warner's job to get to know how such people. I thought he was well connected. I thought he was very well connected because he told me he was, Warner said, recalling the dinner that took place more than 2 decades ago, in or around the year 2000. He had all sorts of war stories about people's money, who he said he managed. Returning to his office, Warner gave his staff an instruction. He never wanted to see Epstein again. But despite his misgivings, Warner didn't completely bear his colleagues from working with the secretive financer. I think I said something like, "Look guys, in the private bank can deal with him if you want, but I don't want to," Warner said. So it was that the newly installed and ambitious head of a JP Morgan's private bank, Jess Stanley, went to meet Epstein, beginning a professional and personal relationship that endured for more than a decade. Even after Epstein was jailed for solicitation of underage girls and placed on sex offender registration, Stanley now has been banned for life from working in the financial service in the UK, with his reputation indelibly marked by his friendship with Epstein, the detail of which have now been revealed in open court in a hearing that Stanley himself initiated. A huge trove of emails, documents, and regulatory investigations released during legal proceedings over the past few years have shown that Staley and Epstein met and corresponded regularly between 2000 and 2015, when the former was appointed CEO of Barclays. Staley visited Epstein's Caribbean island and consulted him reportedly for career advice and business dealings. Such was apparent closeness of the relationship that the two men referred to each other as family. Dun dun dun. Staley's attempt to downplay his dealings with Epstein, a prolific pedophile and sex trafficker with dozens of victims, many of them being young and vulnerable women ended his career at Barclays in 2023 after a 4-year-long investigation. The Financial Conduct Authority ruled that Staley had recklessly misled it by minimalizing his ties to Epstein. Staley was fined $1.8 million, $2.4 million, and banned from holding senior roles in the financial service industry. That could have been the end of the affair. Staley, 68, could have been retired to his yacht, Bequia, with millions of dollars in the bank. Instead, he launched an attempt to salvage his reputation and career via a highly publicized appeal over 12 days in a London courtroom this spring. Staley sat through those hours of testimony and cross-examination, including detailed explanations of the well-documented communications between him and Epstein and public admission of infidelity. Ultimately, the case was an argument over a technicality, whether or not Staley acted recklessly but not fully disclosing his relationship with Epstein to Barclays and hence to the regulator. The judgment released Thursday reduced Staley's fines to $1.1 million but affirmed the lifetime ban. Staley has 14 days to appeal the ruling. The judge presiding over the case, Timothy Harrington, delivered a scathing assessment as he explained his decision to bar Stanley from working in the industry. We have noted Mr. Staley's achievements as chief executive of Barclays, but in our view, these do not diminish the seriousness of the misconduct, Harrington wrote. The loss of the long-standing career is an inevitable consequence of that conduct. But for those who advocate for Epstein's victims, the information that has come out during the case against Staley shows that there is a still long way to go before the institution and individuals that they feel enabled Epstein's crimes are fully held to account. Jeffrey Epstein's massive and monstrous sex trafficking enterprise damaged the lives of countless girls and young women, though the story of how he operated the impunity for decades has yet to be told fully. We know he did not act alone, said Sigrid Macaulay, managing partner at law firm Boyes, Schiller, Flexner. These names, like, they gotta pick a regular name, who's represented several of Epstein's victims in lawsuit against JP Morgan. Epstein's enterprise was enabled by many in the ranks of the privileged and powerful, including people in the world of finance and banking like Jess Staley. A representative for Staley did not respond to requests or comment. Staley has previously denied having any knowledge or involvement in Epstein's crimes. JP Morgan declined to comment. They questioned him. When was the last time you spoke to Jeffrey Epstein? A, I want to say November 2015. Question, why was that the last time you spoke to Jeffrey Epstein? A, I became CEO of Barclays. Question, and what about your position as CEO of Barclays had anything to do with you no longer communicating with Jeffrey Epstein? A, answer, becoming CEO of a major British bank is a very, very visible job, and I thought it was not appropriate to deal at all with Epstein in that role. You, question, by that point in time, did you realize that Jeffrey Epstein had lied to you in the past about his lack of understanding of the ages of some of the victims that he had accused him? A, yes. Q, question, and did any of that have to do with your making a decision to stop talking with him? A, answer, yes. I think it became increasingly that he had a very, very terrible past, and I didn't want to be associated with him. Interesting. Which is questionable and scary based on the implications of he knew prior that this was a complication. Very, very, very inconspicuous. Leon Black, pick up his name. Leon Black gave $170 million to Jeffrey Epstein. Billionaire Leon Black gave even more money to Jeffrey Epstein than we knew, Senate investigators say. Billionaire Leon Black gave more money to Jeffrey Epstein than known. $117 million, $70 million, $170 million. Black said he paid the accused sex trafficker for tax advice. Billionaire Leon Black was more responsible for Jeffrey Epstein's vast fortune than previously known, according to Senate committee investigation. Black, the billionaire financier, former CEO of Apollo Global Management, transferred $170 million to Epstein's coffers over the course of 5 years. U.S. Senator Ron Wyden said in a letter to the Justice and Treasury Departments this week not 158 million as previously reported. An investigation commissioned by Apollo's board appears to have missed 12 million in transfers, which were discovered by investigators working on the U.S. Senate Finance Committee. The Apollo investigation conducted by the law firm DeChert LLP led to the Black resignation in 2021 from the investment firm he co-founded. It also wasn't clear why the bank handling the 170 million in transfers didn't raise any flags until months after Epstein's arrest on sex trafficking charges in 2019, Wyden wrote. The bank did not make filings related to the Black and Epstein transaction until 7 years after the transaction began in 2013, Wyden wrote. In fact, the bank first reported the payments from Black to Epstein more than 8 months after Epstein was arrested on charges of sex trafficking involving underage girls. Wyden, a Democratic lawmaker representing Oregon, asked U.S. Attorney General Pamela Bondi and Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, I know that guy, to hand over documents related to a transfer by March 27, including from the trove of Epstein documents that Bondi promised to make public, in which she didn't, and we were all sitting here like, hey, Pam Bondi, where's the files? They said you were going to pass them. Thomas Macy says, oh, these files are non-binding, heavily redacted. They're not even going to have good sauce that you really want, beyond the people that we already know of, like Leon Black, Glenn Dubin, Leslie Wexner, Glenn Dubin. These are already previously solicited names. Collectors Leslie Wexner, Glenn Dubin named in newly unsealed Jeffrey Epstein documents. Wexner and Glenn Dubin were both named in documents related to Jeffrey Epstein that were unsealed by federal judge on January 3rd. Dubin became a billionaire though hedge fund management, co-founding Highbridge Capital Management in 1992. He is currently a board trustee at the Museum of Modern Art. Both Wexner and Dubin have appeared on the Art News Top 200 Collectors list. The connection between the billionaires and Epstein were already publicly known before the release of the unsealed documents of January 3rd, 2016. Virginia Giuffre? Like, why do they choose these names, bro? How do you say this name? I want to know how you say this name. He comes up instantly. Oh, this was the innocent lady who died, right? Yeah, this is the one who wanted, the family wanted justice for her. Giuffre died April 20. She died this year. Whoa. Virginia Louise Giuffre was an American Australian advocate for the justice of survivors of sex trafficking and one of the most prominent and vocal accusers of child sex trafficking. So she was an exposer, pursued criminal justice and civil rights against Epstein, and she just died. Interesting timing. I don't think we can show that. I think I'm going to have to close out of that. Oh wait, no, was that oh, that was just a car accident. Okay, I thought they just showed me something crazy. So I guess she got in a car accident. She was harmed badly. Let's see. Giuffre. And here's her, I think, unanswered questions. Interesting. And here's Ghislaine in the background. I don't know who that weird person is over there to the left side. So it says, one of Epstein's alleged victims testified. His companion, Ghislaine Maxwell, told her to have sex with Dubin, his wife Ava Anderson Dubin, and their spokesperson vehemently denied the allegation. Vehemently. It's hard to say. Vehemently denied the allegation. The anonymous feminist art collective Guru Girls called out MOMA following the announcement that the gallery at the museum would be named after Dubin and his wife. Also, several strike MOMA demonstrations in 2021 targeting Dubin and 4 other board members. So spooky. Dubin, you weird fucker. Wikipedia is even under it. Hedge fund manager, Principal Dubin Co. LP, private investment company. He's the founder of Highbridge Capital Management, founder of Engineers Gate, and a founding board member of the Robinhood. Wait, what? Not Robinhood the app, right? I gotta stop using the app if they're on it. If they're on, then I'm stop using Robinhood Foundation. No, I don't think it's it. Okay, it's not it. Okay, I can still use the other one. So she's only given names of people who we already know of, who are guaranteed to be on the list. But who don't we know? What don't we think we know? And how is it just now hitting the fan? So unequivocally, from what you know, and you only know, and you only know what you know, I only know what I know. But from what you know, Okay, guys, we can stop with that. Okay, you do not believe a camera exists, or a video camera, or a camera that takes pictures inside of any of his residences? Correct. So even the appropriate cameras that you just talked about, which would be kind of exterior cameras, security cameras, did you know whether there was any cameras that you're aware of inside any of the locations? Never, with one exception. Okay, what's the exception? The exception is Palm Beach. Okay, and the reason? So in Palm Beach, Epstein was having money stolen. He noticed money was being stolen from his briefcase, call it his briefcase, and he called in the Palm Beach police, and they, the Palm Beach police, installed cameras on where he kept his briefcase. Where was that? Do you remember? At his desk in, so the house on the ground floor was, he had a desk, sort of in the corner. There was that camera. I think there was another camera. I think there were 2 or maybe 3 cameras. I believe only on the ground floor, wherever he may have had, and maybe he had another office in the cabana. There may have been a camera there. When was this? I'm not looking for an exact date, but what time period do you think about when you say this? 2003. I think I can date it for you precisely. 2003, I'm pretty firm on that date. So, and I can be firm, oh, that video exists. Like, what we're talking about, or photos were taken that were compromising. So in both of those, I never received no pictures or anything from the civil case. But in the criminal case, I received videos of Epstein talking to women and stuff like that. I did get those. I also saw binders, photographs of women, and I never saw any, well, I don't know how some of these women were there. They were definitely some of the victims from Palm Beach. The photographs of them in without clothing, and in those photographs were the victims that were photographed. Were there any of the people you talked about? Like, they're men with the victims, or were they just photographs of the victims? There is no men with these pictures. There is no client of his with those pictures. They would be standalone, or for want of a better word, like modeling shots. If you were, I don't know, pictures that Epstein had with girls, but I don't know, a compromising position would be good blackmail. But so separate, putting aside what you've said about the fact that you don't know any of the existence of those, did you observe over the years the folks we're talking about, or others which we can talk about? Wait, hold on. Is it? Oh no, I was reading the right page. Okay, sorry. David Market states, pictures that Epstein had with girls, but not Epstein with the clients and the girls. Correct. Did you? I understand you said you got those in the discovery. Did you know those pictures like that existed? So right now I'm talking about photographs of victims, or photographs of women that Mr. Epstein had on his computer, or whether he had them. Did you know that those photos existed before you got them in discovery? Some of them, absolutely, because they were in his house. What happened to the internet? I mean, the video's still going. Wait, I mean, I guess we can continue till the internet comes back. Some of them, absolutely, because they were in his house. Some of these pictures were on his, credenza or whatever. Okay. Some pictures I've simply never seen before. I mean, there was, I had never seen some of them. Some of them I had, some of them I hadn't. I mean, did you, so you're right. And I accept that having video or photographs of somebody famous or powerful in, why did it just go out again? My internet just went out. The DOJ, they're coming for me. In a compromising position would be good blackmail. But so separate putting aside what you said about the fact that you don't know any of the existence of those, did you observe over the years the folks we're talking about, or others which we can talk about getting messages from young women? So I think it's really helpful to understand a few things that had been missed in this whole mishgas. What is that? That's a technical term. I'll look it up later. Go ahead. I thought about this obviously a lot, and I've given it some. So this is the benefit of some benefit of what I saw and some benefit of what I now think. So just for clarity's sake, I think I just want to say that for the record, that I do believe that Epstein did a lot of, not all, but some of what he's accused of. And I'm not here to defend him in any perspective whatsoever. I don't want to, and I don't think he requires nor deserves any type of protection or from me in any way to sugarcoat what he did or didn't do. So there's that. However, the man that I met and the man that he became, I believe that there was some progression. And I don't think that the man that I met is the man that he became. I believe he became that man over a period of time. Now, we can discuss anything you want, and I'll tell you everything I know, but I think somebody who was an interest, however you define that, in underage people is obviously someone who is unwell, but I don't think that you wake up one day and you start doing what he's accused of. I think this is something that you develop or you progress to. I think because, Elaine, before you get into all that, let's answer the top line question, and then I'll get into it. Okay? The top line question is, did you ever see any of these people with underage women? No. So the reason I'm saying that is not to avoid that question, but it's because by the time when you were talking into the 90s, I don't think he was there. I think there's a description. I think that is what you were talking about is a later version. Yeah, and is that no, I understand that. I don't want to I'm not. So it's just I think you need to separate the periods of time. Sure. Because it is one of those things that definitely missing in my trial and definitely missing from the narrative. In this notion, everything happened and he was always, but no, I don't believe that. So what I'm getting at is she knows, but she's scared to say it. Because why would you hold off on that much lore if you were truly trying to become a real testimony and not a victim? Here's an audio recording.
Today's date is Thursday, July 24th. This will be the recording of a proffer agreement of Ghislaine Maxwell from the Deputy Attorney General, DOJ, and the time is currently 9:16. Maxwell and counsel are arriving to the U.S. Attorney's Office, and we will commence the proffer shortly.
Interesting.
I'm going to ask everybody to put their name on the record.
Good morning. My name is Assistant Special Agent in Charge Spencer Horn of FBI New York. Today we're doing a proffer of Ms. Maxwell. The date is July 24th, and the time is 10:12 a.m. This interview is being recorded.
General, and before we start formally asking questions of Ms. Maxwell, I'm going to put on the record everybody that's in this room in addition to me.
Diego Pastana, Associate Deputy Attorney General.
And then you heard from Special Agent in Charge Horn. Mark Beard from the United States Marshal Service is here as well. And then David?
Yes, this is David Oscar Marcus, and I'm counsel for Ghislaine Maxwell.
My name is Leah Safian, and I'm counsel for Ghislaine Maxwell.
My name is Melissa Madrigal, and I'm counsel for Ghislaine Maxwell.
And I'm Ghislaine Maxwell.
Good morning, Ms. Maxwell. How are you?
Good morning, Ms. Black.
Okay, so before we started recording, we met for a few minutes. I introduced myself and we chatted, and now I told you that we were going on the record. And before we start asking questions, I know that you've been given by your lawyer a copy of what's called a proffer agreement, and I just want to spend 2 minutes making sure that you understand what governs our conversation today. The most important part of this agreement is that this isn't a cooperation agreement, meaning that by you meeting with us today, we're really just meeting. I'm not promising to do anything. I'm not promising to ask Judge Nathan or any of the judges that have been assigned to your case to do anything. We're just talking, and so that's the most important part of this agreement. However, almost as important is the fact that what this agreement does for you is it gives you protection. So what it means is that the government cannot use what you say today against you, with some exceptions, which we'll talk about in a minute. But whatever you talk about today, you have what's called immunity. So that means that the words that you say today, we cannot use against you in a case in chief if we were ever to bring one. Okay?
Thank you.
There's exceptions to that. The most meaningful one of which is that if you say something today that's not true, that's a lie, we can bring a prosecution against you for what's called false statements. So I'm a federal officer. I have several officers here. The FBI is here, and if you lie to someone that's like me or like Special Agent Horn, it's a crime. So you have to be truthful. The other exception to this that doesn't necessarily apply directly to you, but if there ever was a retrial in your case, or if there ever was a criminal case, a future criminal case against you, and your lawyer or you said something different or took a position that's different than what you say today, we can then cross-examine you or witness based on what you say today. So it's a little bit nuanced, meaning I can't use what you say against you in our case in chief. However, if you were to testify, or if your lawyer called a witness to testify, and they said something that's totally different than what you say today, we could then cross-examine you or the witness and say, hey, do you remember when we met with Ms. Maxwell back in July of 2025? She told us, and then say what she said. Okay? Okay. Other than that, I know you didn't have a lot of time this morning to meet with Mr. Marcus, but did you have a chance to go over this briefly with him?
I did.
Okay. Right, so I've already signed it, as has Special Agent Horn, and Mr. Marcus signed it as well, so please sign it right where it says clients. Yep. And I will provide a copy of this to your lawyer so you guys have it. Okay. Thank you. So Ms. Maxwell, about a week and a half ago or 2 weeks ago, okay, we're just confirming it works and it does. Ms. Maxwell, I guess about a week and a half or 2 weeks ago, Mr. Marcus reached out to me and said that you wanted to speak with somebody from the government about not only your case, but about everything that's been in the media and that's been publicized about Mr. Epstein in your case.
That is true, and I did speak to him, and I did ask him that I was very keen on having 2 counsels indicted and prosecuted. I did tell the government that I wanted to speak to him because I was very keen to put myself on the
I have questions that I want to ask you, but I'm not. If there's a question that I'm not asking that you think should be asked, I invite you to volunteer. Same thing goes to your lawyers. Just to start a little bit, very briefly, can you talk about when you first met Mr. Epstein? I know that goes back a while, and just very generally talk about your relationship with Mr. Epstein from the time you met him all the way up until his death.
I met Mr. Epstein I'd never heard of him or met him before, and no one in my family had ever either. My father never knew him, and I'll explain. I had a girlfriend who I moved to America briefly I moved to America in 1990.
Okay.
I'd come to visit America in 1990. I had been running my own company up until that time, which was a company called Maxwell Corporate Gifts. And I had also been working for my father at the time. I had multiple jobs with him. In 1990, I was working with a new company of his, a new newspaper that he was launching called The European, and I was in charge of launching a magazine to go with. And I was travelling at that time from England to America because my father was looking to, he also bought Macmillan, the publishing house, and he had purchased the New York Daily News. And it's true to say that my father always wanted me to come back full-time back then, but that's a much longer story I don't think we need to go into at this time. So, but I was always working with him, there was no escaping, as it were, to work for him. So in 1990, I had come over to New York to use with the New York Daily Maker Net. And because she was also from Czechoslovakia, where my dad was from. So I don't remember if I did meet him or not in 1990 with my dad, but I knew that's how I knew about Mr. Trump.
And this was before you met
This was before I met
Epstein?
Yes. So I was already going back and forth to America, and then in April of 1991, I came to New York. I'd been engaged, getting a very long time boyfriend, we broke up, which is like, some girlfriends who I've got a guy to be to meet, and I'm like, who is it? And she goes, he's been dating my sister, and you'll love him, he's looking for a wife. I'm aging towards 30, I don't need to tell you guys that's a very important moment for a girl, just to like think about all the things. And I sure I'd be happy to meet him. And so sometime in 1991, I met him at his offices in Manhattan. And I think the most memorable thing I can think about that is he was wearing a tie which didn't look like he had a giant tomato ketchup thing on it. So I was like, wow, okay. And that was how we met.
Was your meeting at his office for you to meet him just personally, or were you there for work-related reasons?
No, I knew nothing about him. He just invited me to come and have tea, and I was like, gee, that seems okay, but what was unusual was in his office.
So, from what I can semi-gather, Maxwell seems optimistic, at least more so in high hopes about her situation than she previously was held in. I understand that the problems that emerged from her affiliation with his dad was a Mossad super spy, by the way. Daughter of a Mossad super spy. Trump, Epstein, pedo, or lost elections are rigged, won elections are fair, good job numbers are real, bad ones are fake. Less trafficking is bad unless traffickers will blame your enemies. Crime is bad unless the criminals are pro-Trump. This isn't 4D chess. or even tic-tac-toe, just autocracy 101. Clever migrant wears the Epstein Files to hide from Trump. Clever migrant wears the Epstein Files to hide from Trump administration. He doesn't exist anymore. He's gone. He vanished. Poof. That is hilarious. What is this? Epstein likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. Trump paid to silence victims through his lawyer, Victor Cohen. Cohen is a prolific Jewish last name of slave owners. Did you know that? If somebody has Cohen as their last name, they probably own slaves. Katie Johnson, 13. Kelly Foyer, 12. Michael Parker, 10. 10-year-old boy, I'm guessing. Maria Oliveira, 12. Charles Bacon, 11. Rebecca Conway, 13. Kevin Knoll, 11. In court, Trump was diagnosed as 65.4 pedophilic disorder from DSM-5, Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. Yikes. Wait, what?
My name is Juliet Bryant. I was kidnapped from Africa by Jeffrey Epstein 23 years ago. I met him when he was here with Bill Clinton. They promised me a modeling career. I was taken to the island instead. There's a lot that's being hidden from us. I've also got evidence. You know, my name's on the flight logs. I've got my passports. I've got my diaries from the year. I was represented by the boys' lawyers. It's been very frightening for the victims, especially since many have been found dead. I just want to speak out, and also with what's going on at the moment, there's a lot of weird stuff. They want us to sue the FBI, but they don't really want us speaking out online anymore. And, you know, these are the photographs I took there. I'm not going to be silenced because these people hurt me very badly, and I'll never stop. Donald Trump promised the files, but, you know, where are they? What's going on there? Is he really going to pardon Ghislaine Maxwell? That would be a great injustice. It's very frightening what's going on, and now they want to apparently fly the victims to America, to the Washington Capitol to protest. I would very much like to be there. I would very much like to come and fight for America, but unfortunately I'm too frightened to step foot on American soil after what happened to me. I'm also a single mother, but I don't trust going there at all. And look at this on the MSN's become like a blue butterfly, the logo. Like and I've been sharing things about the blue butterfly. There's a lot more going on here. And I just want to say I'm sorry that I can't be there on the 3rd of September for the rally. I'd very much like to be there, but as you know, I don't trust your government. I was kidnapped by them 23 years ago, and I'm too frightened to come back ever again. Anyway, I will be sending lots of energy, and I'll be there in spirit. And let's hope that they do something soon. And let's stop this from ever happening again. Sending everyone lots of love.
That's some creepy stuff right there. Maybe she's real, maybe she's not, but that seems evident.